Hello again for the third time. This is the this is the regular board meeting of the San Benito CISD Board of Trustees. It is Tuesday, August 14th, 2018. Call this meeting to order at exactly 6:24 p.m. Mr. Mendez,
Present.
Ms. Garcia,
Present.
Mrs. Weaver,
Present.
Mrs. Silva, Mr. Lopez,
Present.
Mr. Rosas,
Present.
Dr. Carmen,
Present.
and Mr. Torres. Agenda item number 3 and 4 are the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States and Texas flags and the invocation. I will turn it over to Ms. Garcia.
Thank you. We have doing the Pledge of Allegiance two students from Ed Downs Elementary. The first one doing the pledge is Emmanuel Alvarado. Emmanuel Alvarado is an incoming fourth grader at Ed Downs Elementary. He is 9 years old and his favorite subject in school is reading. His hobbies include playing soccer, reading Percy Jackson's novels, and of course playing Fortnite on his Xbox. His accomplishments include a brown belt in Taekwondo, first place in AR, and he completed his first communion this past May. His future plans are to become either a game developer or a doctor. He is the son of Jaime and Maria Alvarado. The next student we have is Rebecca Jessaray Herrera. She is 7 years old and will be enrolled as a third grade student this school year. Her favorite subject is math. She is an AB honor roll student with an outstanding attendance record. She participates in extracurricular activities and was an active member of last year's Ed Downs Dancing Darlings. Her hobbies include swimming, dancing, reading, and shopping. Her favorite hobby, though, is playing softball. She plays catcher, first, and third base. Her attitude is always very positive and willingly gives 100% in everything she does. She attends Edification Calvary Chapel in Harlingen. Rebecca serves in her ministry of the Lord's Last Supper. She is the daughter of proud parents Jessica and Norberto Corona, sister to one brother, Adam J., and sister to Faith Nicole. Rebecca's proud grandparents are Jesse and Sue Camacho. Rebecca's goal in life is to one day become an educator at the elementary level. Okay.
Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to these, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Will everybody please bow their head and close their eyes as we go before our Lord. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you. We praise your holy name as we give you honor and glory. Thank you, Father God, for your Son, Jesus Christ, who died on the cross for us, so that we can have everlasting life. We thank you, God, for the energy and the spirit that you renewed us in the summer months. And now, Father, I lift up San Benito CISD, our school board, superintendent, principals, teachers, students, parents, and everyone else in the school community. Be with us as we begin the school year. I ask that you go before us and that you lead and direct our paths. Please fill us with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Fill our teachers with compassion, understanding, and grace. Help them have the right words and encouragement. Please supply them with energy too. Please keep everyone safe this year. Send your army of angels to keep everyone free from danger and harm. Let the students be excited about learning and be the best students, the best they can be. Help them to be friendly and thoughtful and treat others as they would like to be treated, to be obedient to their teachers, to love and respect their parents. Help them help them learn and grow strong. Bless every family, O Lord. Give the parents willing hearts to help in the classroom, if they can, and to be involved in their children's homework and stories as the year goes on. Help them to listen to their children's needs and show them lots of love. Let this be a wonderful year for us. Let everyone feel at the end of the year that they learned all they gave to the best they had. We entrust our children to you, dear God. We ask and pray all in the sweet name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. The principal at Ed Downs Elementary is Miss Manuela Lopez. Okay, that's the principal. And parents, if you are in the audience, please stand to be recognized as well. Parents, grandparents. Okay, thank you.
Can we have Emmanuel and Rebecca come forward?
Come forward to get your certificates. Over there, baby. Congratulations, you did real well. Congratulations, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia.
Yes.
We now
sir.
move on to special recognitions. Ms. Longoria?
Thank you, Mr. Vargas. We are delighted to have some students and some staff members here, but just as delighted also to have some parents in the audience that are joining us this evening. And so the first group that we would like to recognize are members of the San Benito High School Band Department. And these are the students that received outstanding solos for their performances. And so they walked away with medals at the 2018 UIL State Solo and Ensemble Contest. Please help me welcome Aiden Solis. He is in the audience. And he can come forward and get his award from our board secretary, Ms. ML Garcia. We also have another student. Her name is Valerie Hernandez. She, however, is already en route or at college, so she just graduated this past year. She was also one of our medallion winners. And we also have our director of bands in the audience, Mr. Dairi Mendoza. And the instructor is Mr. Jorge Mojica. Thank you all for being here. So congratulations to them. I know that parents of Mr. Solis are in the audience and the grandparents as well, so if y'all could please stand and be recognized at this time. Thank you all so much and congratulations. So we move on to the next group. And these are students from San Benito High School's AV Production, the Skills USA Club members. These are students that took part in the Show Off Your Skills contest, and this was put on by Stanley Black & Decker. It was a national video contest, and this particular group of students was awarded over $10,000. And so they have a big check that they have with them. They had one of the top persons from the organization that was here at the end of the school year to conduct the presentation before the students, and of course before then CTE Director Hector Rendon. But we also have now our new CTE Director that has joined the group, Mr. Rolando Guerra, that's in the audience as well, and he's very proud. So I'd like to introduce the students, Nayeli Ramirez, Adrian Garcia, Yaneli Hernandez, and we have a student that graduated, Janie Martinez, We also have some parents, Ivan Rodriguez, Julie Figueroa, and Mirna Escamilla, that also participated when they had this particular event at Veterans Memorial Academy. And so these parents were able to get hands-on opportunities and learn what the students are doing in the classroom. The instructors in the audience are Joel Rodriguez and Isabel de la Cruz. And so again, you see that they were awarded this big amount of money, and this is for a 60-second video package showing off their AV skills by providing a hands-on community service. This is the Digital Media Academy for the city of San Benito, and sessions were held at the Cinesol Films, El Valle Films, and the San Benito High School, where AV production students trained the participants at the Veterans Memorial Academy. So congratulations to these students and also to the parents for being there and supporting the efforts of not only the students, but also of the school district. And a big thanks to our school board and our leaders as well, Superintendent, for supporting these programs that we have under the CTE program. Thank you all so much, and
Ms.
thank you,
Longoria,
teachers.
we'd like for the board to step down so we can take a picture with the big
Yes.
check, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, ready? On three. 1, 2, and 3. One more time. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you so much.
Okay, we now move on to our special, we do not, we just did that. We will move on to our superintendent's report, so I will turn it into Dr. Carmen.
Thank you, Mr. Vargas. We're actually going to start with an update on our five-year strategic plan for the Reimagine 2021 five-year plan. We have this evening an update from Ms. Celia Longoria regarding the Communications and Public Relations Department.
Dr. Carmen, members of the board, and community members here present, it gives us a great deal of pleasure to be able to be in attendance tonight and give you all an update on our Reimagine 2021 Communications and PR plan. So I will begin with the status at where we're at so far. So we start off with year 2, priority 1. And so what I'm basically going to read it off of there. This is a little bit too small, and I don't want to put all my glasses on. So strategic priority 1, San Benito CISD will utilize available and current trending social media outlets to reach all stakeholders. The year 2 goal is to train staff and inform the community of the approved social media apps. As far as the status, we are providing ongoing training, and that continues. And it is offered for individuals that need guidance on how to create their accounts. We're also providing support to the campuses while they grow their own social media audiences. And the graphs that you have below are figures that indicate how many individuals we have either following us or liking us. As far as the district is concerned, we have 11,348 followers, and we have 11,240 likes. On our Twitter, we have 999 followers, and on our Instagram, we have 636 followers. The next graph that you will see, it's a breakdown of the schools, starting with the school district at the top and then continuing on with the other campuses. So the majority of the campuses have been using the Facebook, which is more appealing to people. It's a little bit easier for people to use and to communicate with and keep in touch. So there you see the numbers. Now keep in mind that each of the schools does have a social media representative that is able to assist the campuses with posting information. And on our end then, we are sharing what the schools are doing on our school district page. So right now we're doing maybe like mode of dress, registration information and things like that is important to share with the community. And we will continue working closely with the schools so that they can continue building their audiences and assisting them with that end. We also had produced a video, if you recall, that is available for them that they can access, and we're always available to help them when they need to create their accounts. So some of the next steps on this particular project, we are going to continue promoting and encouraging the use of the social media through district-wide events. That's been proven to be very popular at our back-to-school convocation events, at our end-of-the-year events, where we kind of break in between the sessions in order to take selfies, and then we use a hashtag, and that's really exciting for the staff. So we will continue also providing social media training as needed. And also, one of the other things we're going to continue doing, or that we're going to do this year, is we're going to promote the school district. On the next slide, the social media initiatives, which we have several planned for the school year. And so you see that we will be promoting the alumni. And that's always fun when we do the Throwback Thursday and Flashback Friday. It gets a lot of likes, and it brings a lot of really pleasant memories to the people in our community. It's a way for the community to bond together and to bring memories and also to promote the district as well. So we move to the next slide on year 2, priority 2. San Benito CISD will foster a positive mindset associated with our schools and our community. The year 2 goal is to review and formulate a plan to address perceptions. The status, as of now, we have been working closely with district leaders, campuses, and departments to produce publications that highlight campus and district accolades and have created district campaigns that present the district in a positive light. The next steps, we will promote the district and campuses using various mediums. Yes, sir.
Regarding the, on the status, is there a possible list of all the departments and activities that was channeled through, I guess, YouTube or FaceTime or something like that, the live video? Because I know that you sent us information regarding the links and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But is there any way that you could provide us with a report of who in our departments have forwarded information to you and what's been out there, more like a spreadsheet kind of information? Can that be done?
Like as far as the individuals that contribute
Right.
to our department?
Absolutely. For example, Gateway, after-school program, what else is out there? You see?
Sure.
All of those, you know. But, because that would help kind of get an idea of what, of what's being shared out there. I know that y'all have a lot of work to do and whatnot. And also, because I don't want to go back to the original one, where you have the Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And perhaps this is a question for Dr. Carmen. Is there a way to do an incentive to gauge or gain more followers or participation in those medias? Because it's a powerful tool, but if our own constituency is not using it, they might miss some of the information or whatnot. So just a food for thought.
And these are, keep in mind, these are not the only methods of how we communicate to our public. This is what we're doing as far as social media is concerned. There's also other methods that we communicate with the public. This is just one component. But that certainly is, I guess I'll touch base with Dr. Carmen and how he wants us to handle that. And then that way I can channel the information to him, and then he can forward it to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we were on year 2, priority 2, and these are some of the things that we have done as far as year 2, priority 2 is concerned. Again, we have been working with the district, campus, and departmental leaders to place the district in a positive light. And so these are some of the things in the next slide that you'll see and that you have probably seen, the second half of the semester. We did like an enrollment campaign. We worked closely with Dr. Carmen's office and also with Mr. Madrigal in putting this information together and out to the public to recruit students actually to our district. And so that's also one of the district's goals. We've also been working very closely with the ABC marketing firm in assisting us with our efforts. And so on the next slide, you will see some of the brochures that are currently in progress right now. This is a district-wide brochure that we have developed. And also, the other one on the next slide that you'll see is one for San Benito High School. And the intent, again, is to have these brochures for each of our respective campuses.
Well, I've been told by several of my friends and people that I know that they never received that in the mail, and I know that there were a lot of them that were mailed out. We ourselves didn't receive anything in the mail, other people that I've spoken to, because I want to get feedback, to see who has received that. And not very many people have received them.
I believe maybe you're talking about the this particular one
Yes.
that was mailed out to the.
Yes, that one.
Yes,
The Observer,
I do know that the ABC marketing firm did coordinate efforts with the AIM people to mail them to the homes in the San Benito area. I don't know which particular homes were targeted because I also did not receive one in the mail.
Yes.
So I don't know if they were specifically targeting certain people. I do have a meeting scheduled with them on Monday, and this is something we can discuss.
Yes, because I know my parents, they live 2 blocks from my house, and they got one, but we didn't get any. And, a lot of people that I've spoken to.
And it could have been that they were targeting maybe people that have children.
My parents
but
don't have any
But I
children.
don't, but, no,
They're
but these particular newsletters, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So I will check for them, and then I'll
Yes.
update Dr. Carmen on that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Ms. Longoria, I just to clarify, so we don't know exactly which houses or those were determined?
We have someone here from the marketing company that is
good.
present, that if you would like to ask us specific questions, she is in the audience if you would like to ask them. They didn't give me a detailed report on where those went to. I was told they went to about 8,000 households, but I still haven't gotten a full report, but I do anticipate on getting one
Yeah, I just want to
next
know
week.
if it was done through like a clearinghouse or through a certain,
It was printed at AIM in McAllen, which is out of it's part of the local newspapers. There's the Brownsville Herald, the Valley Morning Star, not the San Benito, Brownsville Herald, Valley Morning Star, and the Monitor.
Okay.
There's 3 of them.
so what can we do to avoid this further? Because it seems like even from our perspective, a lot of our constituents didn't receive the newspaper, which defeats the purpose. So I want to make sure that in the next issue that we are indeed receiving those. So just figuring out which households were missed. I don't know if we can quantify that information, but hopefully
Sure.
moving forward, we can rectify that.
Yes, not a problem, and we can look into that because we have heard, some of those same concerns. So that's something that I will be addressing with the ABC marketing firm, so that way they can give me a detailed report, and then that way we can all share that information, and Dr. Carmen can have it as well, and then you all can have it as well.
Great, thank you.
Yes. You're welcome. So we move on to the next slide, and these are some of the campaigns that we've done throughout the year. As you recall, at the beginning of the school year and towards part of the school year, we obtained new school buses, so that was one of the promos that we did. And then we moved on to the Early College Academy, where the emphasis was placed to attract students. The STEAM Academy was another successful campaign. Also, campaigns dealing with enrollment and the pre-K program. You also see like the design that was used for the Early College Academy campaign and the STEAM Academy. And what you see on the right-hand side are spadias that we did with the Valley Morning Star. So a lot of our marketing efforts that were placed into those particular campaigns, and they proved to be very successful. And besides that, of course, there was also the radio and the television end of it. So we move on to the next slide, Year 2, Priority 3. San Benito CISD will consolidate district schools and departmental communications through a collaborative medium. And the Year 2 goal is to align staff development to the selected modes of communication. So as far as the status, we have worked closely with the campus principals to highlight their accomplishments. The Education Connection, we continue to produce that on a monthly basis, and that particular publication contains some information related to campus and district news. The district recently launched The Observer. That was a 16-page publication, which we briefly talked about here. And also the next steps, we will continue producing a quarterly newsletter, The Observer, in order to highlight district and campus news and to keep the community informed about the district happenings and events. And so on the next page, you see highlights of the actual Observer. So Year 2, Priority 4, San Benito CISD will modernize and update its digital image. A lot of the work took place in Year 1, if you recall, with a new website and things of that nature, but of course the work continues. And the goal is to create a user-friendly format for all district web pages and mobile phone apps. The Communications Department continues working closely with the Technology Department and current service providers to discuss plans related to the availability of mobile phone apps. And so what are the next steps? We will continue working with the Technology Department to review the provided app concepts and finalize mobile phone apps. And then on the next slide, you'll see some of the actual concepts that they've come up with so far. It's still a work in progress, and so we will continue working with the companies to try to find something that we can all agree upon. So there's been a lot of work taking place on that end, and special thanks to Lee Peña from the Technology Department for assisting us with that endeavor. So Year 2, Priority 5, San Benito CISD will evaluate, reshape, and implement a cohesive brand. And so the Year 2 goal, promote and market the unique culture and climate of each campus that reflects a safe, caring, and positive learning environment. The status so far is the department has been working closely with campuses and departments and in order to produce programming that highlights news and events. And the PR department created a new image at the direction of the superintendent, which is an awesome piece, and you saw what the students just got. And so this is a sample of it for those of you that haven't seen it. This is kind of what it looks like. Very nicely done. So for the audience members here, it's very, very nicely done. And so you see it also in some of the publications that we've called up on the screen. And next steps, the PR department will meet with campus and departmental personnel to produce programming and publications, and will produce printed materials and video productions to further enhance promotional efforts. And so on the last page, you see some of the work that has taken place.
So really quick before we move on, I had a question on the cohesive branding. I know we do a good job across the campuses and across the district of keeping the same cohesive image, but what I'm concerned with and what I have seen is local entities like the newspaper, or even when the Valley Morning Star does a publication online, they'll always have our old
Yes.
logo that we've used for the past 20 years, which
Yes.
defeats the purpose. If internally we're doing it, but externally it's not happening, then it defeats the purpose of us trying to have a comprehensive image. So what steps have we taken to make sure and communicate to them sternly that not use the old image
Yes.
and use everything that we've approved as a board?
We had a recent incident where there was some changes with the Brownsville Herald. They came to the offices at the Valley Morning Star. So new staff members, I guess their offices got relocated to the Valley Morning Star. And one of our stories that ran the old logo. And it's been mainly on their online presence. So I always reach out to Lisa Sizer, who's the editor of the Valley Morning Star, to make sure that gets corrected. So in this particular instance, it was one of their Brownsville people, and they did indicate via email when I brought it up to their attention, and they did indicate that they thought they had removed those files. So a lot of that is on their end, but again, anytime we see something like that, we're always trying to correct it, because again, it's very important that we maintain the integrity of our brand and we protect it, and that it, they're putting that whatever we're putting out there is a correct information. So it's just a matter of communicating with them, when that happens. Yes, sir. You're welcome. But yes, we notice it right away, and it irks us. So the next steps, we do have, working in conjunction with the superintendent, a marketing plan that is still a work in progress, and we have another brochure that presented before Dr. Carmen and members of the SLT team on Monday. Work on those publications will continue, and work on the marketing plan will continue as well. So we have a lot of interesting things lined up on there. Any questions?
Ms. Longoria, could you go back to priority 2 for a second?
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure I saw. Okay, and this is based off the survey completed during year 1, correct?
Correct.
Doing gather and analyze the data from the survey conducted in year 1?
Yes.
And then based on those findings, create a plan to address perceptions? So I'm not sure I heard enough about or I heard much about the analyzing of the data.
Mm-hmm.
Did I not hear that, or did you skip over that, or did I just not hear it?
I believe I did mention that. And your question is regarding what, sir?
So when you analyze the data, what did you find regarding the perception of the district?
Well, we met with a committee. We formed a committee on for the year 1, comprised of business representatives, school personnel. Also, we also secured the services of our local media people, and we looked at the survey. Basically, what are the top 3, issues that they see that surface time and time again. And it basically dealt with morale, with politics, with health insurance, issues related to that. And then there was some other things that were, of course, lined up on there as well. So those are some of the things that we've been addressing through the campaigns that we've produced out there to try to maintain a positive image. And the whole branding, that was all done in the year 1.
Okay, so I guess how I'm reading this is, when you analyze the data and you identify factor 1, factor 2, factor 3, then create a plan to address factor 1, factor 2, factor 3. So is there some specificity you can elaborate on, or is there, maybe you can report back to us
Sure.
regarding the top 3 areas of concern and maybe the top 3 areas that were positive? And
Yes.
then how your department built on those specifically, the ones that were positive, and then took measures to address the 3 highest areas of concern?
Yes, and a lot of those have already been addressed because, as you recall, the TASB salary study addressed some of those concerns. You know, as trustees, they've already addressed the health insurance issues that also resulted of that. And the employee morale and all that has also been addressed because, as a district, of course, we're moving forward. There's been stability in the district. But I can certainly give you that information and present back to you.
Right, 'cause I think what I'm asking is specifically from your department. I understand what direction the board gave. I understand the directives that I've given. I'm curious to know specifically from your department how those were addressed.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'll give you that information. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, Madam, I got a question real quick. As far as our rebranding and our, where this district wants to go in the strategic plan and all that, as far as the marketing component of it, to me, it's very, very extremely important. And I understand that this ABC company is an ancillary support. My concern is how much impact did you have, or how much input did you have in this whole process as far as the whole paper initiative?
We met with them on a regular basis to try to come up with what areas we wanted to cover. So basically, we broke down the different sections based on what do we have as a district to promote. So that's how you see the sections broken down in the actual newsletter. And so if you see the one that I'm holding up, it was broken down into sections where the focus was on district news, so that highlights district news as a whole. And then there's also another section, student experience, basically talks about student experience. And so we are able to highlight the different accolades that the students earned. The other area that's very important to us is the college and career ready. We felt that because we were making a big push for the early college and also dual enrollment, the Go Center and all that, that's also very important for us to promote. So that was another section that was on there. Around town is also important because even though we are a school district, obviously we still partner with a lot of activities and events that the city is holding or as a community that we're holding together. When there's events happening, like at the Haven Resaca Trail, our students are out there performing and putting our name out there for the school district as well. The employee corner, it's also important to promote our employees and to just give them that morale boost that they're looking for. So that was another section that this newspaper included. Parent connection, I mean, obviously parents are very important to us in our district. You saw that we do have a lot of tremendous parental support. It was evidenced here tonight with the parents that were here. Anytime you ask parents to participate, they willingly come and take part in our activities. So we do like to reach out to our parents, and so it's important for us to recognize what it is they're doing for us at the district as well and at the campus level. And so you see that also the parents taking part in tea parties and things like that at the campus level. And you see them there when their students are getting their awards for perfect attendance and things of that nature. So also very important is the school calendar. A lot of people like to keep it. They like to tack it onto the refrigerator. One of the also hottest things here that we're getting ready for is football. So everybody wants to know when the next Greyhound team is going to play and if they're going to play at home. So that was also very important as well.
Look, I got a question as far as that football schedule. That's a good point. I received some phone calls as far as that unfortunately, that schedule that's on that paper is incorrect. So the reason why I'm asking is, if we're going to invest this money, okay, as a district and move the district forward with our new vision, then we need to make sure that, you know, we're sending the correct message. I think the newspaper is a great idea. It's very obvious that it needs to be tuned up a little bit because, you know, an X amount of people did not receive it, which is a shame to me. But more importantly, that information that's on that newspaper for the first paper ever, you know, all they're going to remember is what's not on there and what's not correct. They're going to forget about all the good stuff that's on there, and they're going to focus on the stuff that's not correct. So I was a little disappointed with that. So that's the reason why I was asking how much input you had in it, just to make sure that, you know, moving forward, if we're going to invest this type of money, we make sure that we do it, you know, we do it accurately, we do it correctly, and you know, we need to make sure that our parents know that, you know, we are putting our best foot forward and we are providing the accurate information. You know, so okay, thank you.
My understanding is that it was not proofread.
No, that is not correct, Miss. It was proofread, and actually, I do have the ones that I have it red marked. So it was proofread. Some of them were not. I mean, when you're dealing with content with a 16-page, it's sometimes easy to overlook information. And so both on our end and on the other end, both parties were proofreading it, but a lot of times, you know, it is difficult to catch those mistakes. It was a first publication, 16-page publication. There's a lot of great accolades that got reported on there. There's a lot of really good stories and information that as far as promoting the district, but it will be published quarterly as per Dr. Carmen's recommendations. And so we will continue working with the ABC Marketing Company to continue enhancing the publication and perhaps tweak some of what you see there. Do you all have any other questions? Yes,
Actually,
Mr.
going back
Mendez.
to the information that Dr. Carmen was focusing on the data. And I recall back maybe about a year ago, there was a survey that was being distributed throughout the community. So what are we doing, or what is your office doing to continue the assessment and evaluation on the organizational health? Have you all sampled any more questions? Are you all working with a team on that? Or is, I mean, what's going on in that part? I mean, because honestly, you know, perceptions, ideas, concepts, they change regularly. So people's perception of the of the organization as a whole is always going to fluctuate. So from my perspective, and I'm not sure if the board is in agreement with me, I mean, we do need to have a baseline of where we were, and then a team to discuss possible questions that would be beneficial to the organization, so we can begin looking at that data and improve on the outcomes, or even celebrate whatever outcomes are out there. So are y'all doing that at all?
I know that there's several that have been done, like student surveys and parent surveys and things like that. But that's something that I can discuss with Dr. Carmen and see what direction we want to go as far as that is concerned.
In doing so, moving forward, could you all validate the questions? I'd hate to see questions that are not really targeted for the audience or for the organization to begin with. So, I mean, and I'm pretty sure there's some online questions or whatnot that could be utilized, but there are instruments out there that we could get some good data from, so.
And usually we use SurveyMonkey for that, and so that's one of our options that we can do. But again, you know, we'll work with Dr. Carmen and perhaps members of the SLT team to see what we can come up with, and something that y'all can review in advance before we send it to the public for their review. Because we always want to make sure that, you know, we're improving and we're getting better. Where are we at? And that's important, and we do need to know. Yes.
Any more questions? Thank you, Ms. Longoria.
Thank you all so much. Thank you all for your support. Appreciate it.
All right, the remaining portions under the superintendent's report are all finance related. The cash account report, student activity accounts, comparison of revenue expenditures to budget, tax collection, and check disbursements. So I'll ask Mrs. Hilda Rendon if she would present on those, please.
Hello again. Board President, board members, and audience. These are the financial reports, starting off for the month ending July 31st. This is our first month of the year, of our working year. It also is the first month that we have our new financial system. It's been a long process, and we're still working through the weeds. So the report looks a little different. We're trying to create a report that's very similar to what you have seen in the past, being that we have Skyward. It's a robust software, so we're working through it. So keep in mind that we might do some changes by allowing more reports in there. So we're fine tuning it, bottom line is. So we're gonna start off with the cash balances. Under the cash balances for the month ending in July 2018, total balance is $45,144,294.02. Going into our student activity accounts, the month ending July has $435,557.26. This is one of the reports that you've seen before, and not the audience, but you've seen the actual owners broken down by activity. We're working on providing the similar report with it. Going into the comparison of the revenue and budget, starting off with a comparison of the revenue to the budget for July, which is our first month. Just to kind of go through, estimated revenue is the budget that we approved, that the board approved. Activity is what has transpired during the month. FY activity, it would consist of year to date or up to the year. So the first one, estimated revenue, we have a approved budget of $112,045,480, and the activity for the month was $377,037.55. Activity. So we have realized the revenue 0.34%. The midsection is our federal programs. These have Because federal programs continues, we're still working on prior year. These funds do not close some are gonna close in August. 2 of the funds, the rest of them will be open through September. Therefore, it's carrying over the balances that we had in prior year. Current activity or year-to-date activity is $8,865,683.45. We've realized revenue of 59.19%. Again, this is on a reimbursement basis, so our revenue is always lagging behind than the actual expenditures. 352, just because the new system groups it in 1, 2s, and 3s. That is our Cycle 9 grant, and it just brought it out before you would see it in the same area. But we've realized 80.59% of the revenue. Our 599 is our interest and sinking fund. Next page. And we realized $25,392.85, and that's just INS tax collections that we've gathered.
Ms.
Next.
Rendon, could you pause for a
Yes,
minute? Could you
yes.
go back to the previous, I'm looking at the 42%. So this is last year's carryover, correct?
It's last year's plus July.
Last year's plus July?
Yes.
Okay, so is there any way to distinguish what was still left over last year?
Well, you mean as of the close event, as of June 30th?
Yes.
Yes, I just did one report that I'm waiting for them for reimbursement. When we do the end of the year, it's gonna break out.
Okay, will you be providing that next board meeting? Okay, all right, thank you, carry on.
Now we're going to the expenditures, starting off with our general fund. Area and year-to-date is $6,199,532.74, which is 11.40% of the approved budget. The midsection, same thing, it's carrying over the expenditures through July. Here's where we have their totals that we spent. In the 211, we're up to 77% spent of the grant. And as I indicated, these grants end the 211 ends in September 30th. We had been looking at the expenditures. We have gone up on percentage points. Our 244 account is at 98%, so that one does close in August, and we've almost expended the whole grant. And on our 599s, interest and sinking, we have no expenditures in July. Our debt is paid in August.
Mrs. Rendon, can I
yes.
ask you real quick on that
Yes.
255? Was that before the expenditures for the TEEX Resource Conference hit?
Yes.
Okay, so that'll be a huge
There-
impact on
yes,
that line.
Yes, those are, we're currently doing our reimbursements and paying off. And a lot of the 255 is also paying for the in-services that are occurring here in August. So we'll make a dent on it. Our tax collections for the month of July, we've collected $192,571.57 collected prior, and we have the prior of $12,025,583.45, and then the current. And that's just because previously we would collect up to August. Now we have cut down, so the last 2 months are going to move into our new year. But if we're comparing, we have collected 94.07% of our tax rate. Our last report is our checks disbursements. The audience, but for you all, I think you have seen many, many pages. It's a little shorter. This is some report that we're working on. If I were to run the whole checks, I end up getting all staff's checks in there too with names. So we're working on it. These are just AP checks that were run out for accounts payable. So we're working on how we can come in with the totals. So basically the summary of payroll is what we're working on. Have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question, not specific to your presentation. Thank you for the numbers. It's relative to what you brought up at the beginning, and that's the new Skyward program. So I've heard from whether it's a director or a secretary that the new system is making them feel a little bit anxious.
It's making me feel
It's making you feel
anxious.
anxious. So I just want to, I guess, how are we being proactive and what are we doing to put in place a safe fail mechanism? So yes, we're providing the training during PD and we're doing that, but in terms, like, are we going to have some type of hotline or something that where they can call with an immediate question? Because obviously if a secretary doesn't put a PO in and it's not in
Yes.
Skyward, like, there's a domino effect. So
Yes.
can you reassure the board that?
We're working on that, sir. We started the intensive training, the modules. Skyward, there's modules that are assigned to individuals based on their role. And it's a we actually go through a helpline but it's kind of hard because when you're going through it and you don't see the product, you're just reading it, right? So they've gone through the modules, depending on their role. Some were very aggressive because we sent out a survey saying, what is your role, so that we could give them what modules they should be taking. Some of them were very overwhelming because they checked off everything. So they found themselves with a lot of modules. Yes, they might view it, but that meant that they actually had to do a training. So we went back and modified them. Some of them, they need to know about it, but they're not the direct person that is they know of it, they just don't need to be trained in every single module there is. We did that, and we have a list of all the individuals that did the staff development. Now that they're coming back, which after the break, what we did is we're starting off with the secretaries and the individuals that are the first line of inputting. We're starting to do now in-house training. We're starting off with the secretaries. We did one for the administrators, a short, just here's your login. This is where you go approve it. But it was during the administrators retreat, so we were limited in time. We have set out, we're gonna have trainings every week, every Friday, and it's gonna be the same information over and over so that they can come and they can ask their questions to filter out so that they can be well-versed. We had the first one for secretaries, like I said, but the administrators couldn't be there because they were busy, but we had over 40, maybe 50 people in this room, and they did. Then we had the training. We're gonna have another one this week. And we set up from my office, we said that we're gonna have continuously every week and start to wean them off so that they can ask the questions. So now they've read it, and now they've applied it. Now let's find out the questions.
So if I'm a secretary at La Paloma and I'm having trouble, who can I call and get
They call my office.
Okay.
It could reach for myself or my finance accountant. It could be technology. We have helpline. We have resources. They can go back to the hub station. So we're providing that. At the secretary's training, we're going to go in depth next week. We also are going to set up for the administrators because I know they're really, really busy right now. But as the administrators, they're in the approval, not so much in the inputting. So there's less. But we do have over 1,500 purchase orders that have been entering. So there's some that have just taken off with it. But we're here we're here to help them, and my accounts payable individuals also have taken off with it. So yes, it's a little uncomfortable. It's a little change. And we experienced that with Texas, but we're here to reinforce and to take it as much as we'll go through the whole process on it.
I knew you are. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Rendon?
Yes, sir.
I'm looking at your check register, and I'm trying to get a grasp on the item number 746608.
I'm sorry.
It's for $100,000.
Which one, sir?
746608, Texas State Technical College, page 9 of 11.
Oh, the Texas Technical College, that is the amount that was paid for the migrant students.
Migrant students,
Yeah,
okay.
that we brought in, that they had, during the summer, they go over there and I think it was 5,000 per student that the board approved.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other questions? right, no more questions? All right, thank you, Ms. Rendon.
Thank you.
Next agenda item is public comment. We do not have one tonight. We move on to the consent agenda and action agenda. So in order to promote efficient meetings, the board may act upon more than one item by a single vote through the use of consent agenda. Consent items placed on the agenda shall be marked with an asterisk. Consent items are items for which no board discussion is anticipated and for which the superintendent recommends approval. Prior to the time which approval of consent agenda is had, at the request of any board member of the trustees or member of the Board of Trustees, any item on the consent agenda shall be removed and given individual consideration. Under Business and Finance, 1, request for approval of budget amendments for 2018-2019. Question? Consent? Number 2, request for approval of resolution authorizing the setting of the 2018 ad valorem school tax and providing for discounts on such payments. Question? Consent? Number 3, request for approval of financial advisory agreement with RBC Capital Markets. Question? Consent? Number 4, request for approval to award RFP-0718-AIPM, award incentives and printed materials. Question? Consent? Number 5, request for approval to award RFP-0718-CP, copier paper. Question? Consent? Number 6, request for approval to authorize administration to renew stop-loss insurance with United Health, subject to changes as presented to the Finance Committee. Question? Consent? 7, request for approval to award RFP-0718-PCC, property casualty coverage. Question? Consent? Number 8, request for approval to award RFP-0718-WFICC, workers' compensation insurance fully funded. Question? Consent? Number 9, request for approval of membership for Purchasing Cooperative of America. Question? Consent? Number 10, request for approval to purchase desks for A and B wings at San Benito High School. Question? Consent? Number 11, request for approval of purchase of Identa Meditrix. Question? Consent? Number 12, request for approval of interlocal agreement between San Benito CISD and Education Service Center Region 10 Retirement Asset Management Services.
Question.
Question by Mr. Mendez. Number 13, request for approval of the engagement of J. Ramirez Law Firm for bond counsel services and authorizing the execution of an engagement letter related thereto. Question? Consent? Number 14, request for approval of an order calling a bond election, making provisions for the conduct of the election, authorizing the superintendent to make amendments thereto if necessary, and resolving other matters incident and related to such election. Question? I actually have question. Number 15, request for approval of security alarm systems for San Benito High School and Veterans Memorial Academy campuses. Question? Consent? Under administration, request for approval of the 2018-2019 optional flexible school day program or OFSDP application. Question? Consent? Number 17, request for approval to add a TEAL organization alternate approver. Question? Consent. Number 18, request for approval of the 2018-2019 Student Code of Conduct. Question? Question by Mr. Mendez. Number 19, request for approval of 2018-2019 Student Handbook. Question? Consent. Number 20, request for approval of 2018-2019 Elementary Grading Policy. Question? Consent. Number 21, request for approval of request for approval of 2018-2019 secondary grading policy. Question?
Question.
Question by Mr. Mendez. Number 22, request for approval to purchase Dell laptops for early college students for the 2018-2019 school year. Question? Consent. Number 23, request for approval to accept Stanley Black & Deckers and Skills USA's Show Off Your Skills Challenge grant. Question? Consent. Number 24, request for approval of the agreement between San Benito CISD and South Texas Emergency Foundation. Question? Consent. Number 25, request for approval of DNA local. Question. Consent. Number 26, request for approval of localized update 111, A, BBD local, board members, training and orientation, B, CAA local, fiscal management goals and objectives, financial ethics, CGA local, contracted services, criminal history, DHE local, employee standards of conduct, searches and alcohol/drug testing, DI local, employee welfare, FEA local, attendance, compulsory attendance. Question? Consent. Number 27, request for approval to amend work calendar for 260-day employees. Question. Consent. Number 28, request for approval of board minutes. Question. Consent. Can I please have a motion to approve under business and finance items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 15, and under administration, 16, 17, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lopez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Mendez. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We move to the first questioned item under business and finance. That's number 12, request for approval of interlocal agreement between San Benito CISD and Education Service Center Region 10 Retirement Asset Management Services. Mr. Mendez.
Yes, I just wanted a quick overview of what this entails, Dr. Carmen?
Certainly, as we discussed last week in the Finance Committee meeting, this is the, make sure I'm reading the right thing here, the FICA Alternative Plan. They are the largest program for administering FICA alternative plans for school districts in the state of Texas. Essentially, district chooses one. This was recommended to us by, actually, Mr. Joe Salazar, I think, brought this recommendation to us. You can read through the fees there. The fee of $10 per year. I'm not sure how much in depth of this 6 pages you want me to read to it. I'm not sure.
I just want to kind of get an idea of what it entailed. So is this a retirement plan?
Right, so the 457B plan.
Okay.
For those eligible employees, as well as the 403B. And is there one more on here? Is that it?
Okay,
Maybe that's it.
I see what, okay. Now I see what the information, okay. All right, well, thank you. Well, I move to approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Mendez. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Lopez. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Also under business and finance, number 14, request for approval of an order calling a bond election. Actually, it wasn't so much of a question, but more of a comment. I just wanted to thank the bond committee that was created, that included a lot of community members, business members that the board members chose and selected to kind of vet through what the board's wishes were and ultimately come up with a recommendation for the bond election, which includes things like our Performing Arts Center, an aquarium, sorry, not an aquarium, an aquarium. It's a big aquarium, $1 million aquarium. We wouldn't have to travel to Corpus anymore, but yeah, an aquatic center and indoor athletics facility. I'll just stop talking. No, but yes, I just wanted to thank formally from the board. I don't know if the board has other comments or anything, but I think this is a huge thing for our district. The fact that we won't be raising taxes and the fact that we'll actually be able to start building these big entities, which our students definitely deserve. So thank you again. I move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Garcia. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next questioned item under administration, request for approval of the 2018-2019 Student Code of Conduct. Mr. Mendez.
Actually, what I just wanted to get, if somebody could give me the highlights of what changed on the Student Code of Conduct from last year to this year?
Mr. Saldana, would you like to address that?
I don't have the information from me, but we did pass it out at the committee meeting. It was a flyer, it was just minor changes, mainly dates, believe was it, and then the part we put in on special ed, special education, I don't remember the specifics, but I can get you a copy of what we passed out at the committee meeting.
Okay, was I think it was the PRC item discussed on the student code of conduct in regards to the penalties and whatnot?
That was not part of the student bill.
It's not?
That would be more what would handle, or you're talking specifically what happens on campus, what they handle administratively?
Yes.
Yeah, that would
But
be the
specific
capital.
guidelines on, for example, one demerit, two demerits, or whatnot constitutes X number of days at PRC and whatnot. Is that delineated on this document?
No, sir.
No?
No, sir. I know in the past, we had like a matrix that we had used, and we did away with that.
Right.
But basically now it's just outlined what the offenses are, and the administrative staff on the campus has the discretion what penalty to assess.
Okay.
Of course, some are discretionary, some are mandatory.
Okay. And I didn't make time to go through the whole item. Is there an appeal process
Yes, sir.
item
We
on there
have
as
it.
well?
As a matter of fact, we're going to meet with the secretaries next Friday from the secondary schools, because last year there seemed to be some miscommunication from years past, and coming into this position this year, having been here 8 months, I saw some concerns that came up. So one of them was dealing with the grievances, so we're going to streamline it better.
Okay.
And we're going to meet with them, because they're the ones that handle all the paperwork for the campus administrators.
Sure.
So I want to make sure that we convey what the policy is by day and how to follow and all that, because we had some concerns last year. So it's
Okay.
being addressed.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Salanya.
Yes, sir.
So I move to approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Mendez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Lopez. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next question item under administration was request for approval of the 2018-2019 secondary grading policy.
Same
Mr.
question.
Mendez.
Same question. Any major changes on the grading policy?
Good evening. Only one minor change. For the most part, everything remained the same. So there was only one minor change in regard to class rankings, and this was approved by the board at the February board meeting, and it went into policy. And the change is already included in the booklet, and it reads as follows. The following provisions shall apply beginning with students in the graduating class of 2017. Additionally, up to 4 courses taken outside the regular school day shall be used in the calculation of class rank when courses are taken through an institution with which the district has an articulated agreement or memorandum of understanding, MOU. That was the only thing that changed.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Mendez. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Weaver. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. We move on to closed meeting, discussion under the authority of the Texas Government Code 551.071 for the purpose of private consultation with the board's attorney on any subjects or matters authorized by law. 551.074 for the purpose of the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, to hear complaints or charges against a public officer or employee. And 551.072 for the purpose of deliberation of the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of property, employment resignations and retirements. And 2, consideration and discussion of resignation agreement regarding OS administrator. We convene into executive session at 7:32 p.m. We convene back into open session at 9:29 p.m. Agenda item 1, employment resignations and retirements. Dr. Carmen?
Yes, sir. Mr. Vargas, I would ask the board to take action on the employments, resignations, and retirements as discussed in executive session.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Mendez. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Lopez. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Number 2, consideration and discussion of resignation agreement regarding OS administrator. Dr. Carmen?
Yes, sir. I would ask that the board take action regarding the resignation agreement regarding OS administrator as discussed in executive session.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Mendez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Weaver. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Final agenda item, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Mendez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Lopez. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? We adjourn at exactly 9:31 PM.